So if you welcome to the stage Richard Smedley, who's going to tell us about new food for free.
Thanks. Right, thanks. Okay, so the new food for free. What happened to the old food for free? Well, we'll get onto that, and why on earth are pictures of dahlias on the screen? Food for free was something that shouldn't be a hard sell. I mean, I imagine, does anybody eat food here? Few people? Oh, good. Goodness for that. And some people like free stuff? Great. So if you're in that bit of a Venn diagram, very good. But the original Food for Free was a book by Richard Mabey, possibly the only naturalist to be posing in the National Portrait Gallery. And in the 70s, it sent everyone out into the countryside to try and raid the natural flora, the few hundred plants which are native to Britain. And you still see people blackberrying, even if they're not all after the Plymouth pear, the wild samphire, and all the other exotic stuff in the book. But I'd like us to turn towards the city and what's around us in our built environment that's an underused resource. And I don't mean urban agriculture or guerrilla gardening or anything like that, although they're all brilliant things. But I'm talking about the plants that grow in our parks and our gardens, which we brought over here from other countries, where it was their larder, and we just look at them. But before the leaves fall off the trees here, all sorts of, the leaves you can eat on beech trees and the nuts from beeches as well. You can eat the leaves from mulberry trees as well as the fruits. This very exotic tree which was planted across the whole country by James II, deliberately in the mistaken belief that we would have a silk industry. He got the wrong sort of mulberry, but it's very tasty. Anyway, obligatory health and safety notice, of course. Everybody's allergic to something that they haven't eaten yet, and some plants may cause drowsiness. Hop shoots, maybe a little bit. They're a brilliant asparagus substitute. Also, I mean, they spray bad enough stuff on food, but on ornamental plants, you need to be aware where you're picking what's on it. That out the way, if you kill yourself now, it's your fault, so let's talk about the good stuff. When the council actually ran out of money for sprays at the end of the 80s, and they sent workmen up Canning Street stamping on the chamomile daisies and the feverfew, you could still find a few niches they hadn't reached. And I don't want to neglect, our wild plants, but let's turn to the exotic stuff. The camassia, across the plains and prairies of Northern America, the American Indians, it was their favorite gluttony feasting food. They would fill fire pits until the boulders lining the pits were stuffed, and then they would slow roast them and then feast on them for 2 days in a row till they couldn't move. These things we just grow as ornamentals are amazingly tasty foods. Now, Camassias, they're in a few gardens and parks, but dahlias, I said we'd get back to dahlias, they're much more common, and you probably have a neighbour growing them. When they dig up the tubers at the end of the year, ask to try a few. There are 57,000 different varieties of dahlia, all bred for how they look, so they don't all taste as good as each other, but try them. Get out into the streets. Here's a sweet acorn, or Quercus ilex, the holm oak, much tastier than normal acorns, which, unless you're Piglet from Winnie the Pooh, aren't so tasty, although they are edible. Get out with other people. Abundance groups are going round getting unharvested apples, quinces, medlars, making juices for the community. Find out with other people as well how to do stuff. I think there's something called the interweb now. It has a lot of information. You might find stuff in your garden. 3 minutes, 2 square yards of flower border, 15 different salad vegetables picked there. Lots of books are available on it as well, if you prefer books to screens, from the sort of young, trendy gardening books, which cover everything from plants I've been talking about to wild plants. And also whole research stations. So Ken Fern down in Cornwall has written a gardening book about these plants, but all the uses are in there. And he grows 7,000 different useful plants for food and fuel over there. So there's a lot to open your eyes to, and of course, also free if you're lucky. So a whole load of resources out there. I did talk about money in my last talk, and now I'm on to the free stuff. But this is wealth. One very wise woman said, all true wealth is biological, and you can't eat money. So do have a look at it. I wouldn't bother too much with that blog address and the second Twitter feed, because I never get around to updating it, but it might happen one day. So go and look at them if you want. And thank you very much.